Hello, yes. Welcome back to the Lil RES podcast, also known as the regular episode. The S is
So,
the second half of episode. Um, Dude, I'm actually forgetting how the intro works. Here's the hat of the day.
um,
It's
yes.
a Keith Haring hat. This is a new one. We haven't seen this one on the podcast before. Here's the gnocchi of the day. Wherever it is on the screen, it's probably going to be right here because I framed the camera to be able to put it right here. And I guess Richard, you're like right there somewhere. We'll figure out where it is in the edit. Um,
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
yeah, somewhere. It's 81 degrees outside and mostly cloudy, but it's actually not cloudy at all. So the weather app is just lying like it usually does. And how are you doing today, Richard?
I'm good. This is the shirt of the day. It's Cowboy Bebop. This is the clue of the day. It's a red herring. Unlike your Keith Haring hat.
I don't know what to.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put something there. Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sweating.
I'll just put a Y. I
And
don't know. Like a red herring. I don't know.
the
Something
weather,
interesting. Go on. Go on. Go on.
yeah, sure. It's nice out. It's actually really nice out. It's a DC 84, but like without the strong sun. So it's
Mm,
just like a gentle sun. We've been having like 75-degree summer nights like for the past 4 days, and it is immaculate. And they're not
nice.
sticky either. It's just like warm nights. It's a good time.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. I'm doing well.
You're
I'm trying to think. Should I
something
pivot
happened to
into
you immediately before the podcast.
Yeah, so I'm running on a mixture of adrenaline and Diet Pepsi. So I was biking around my city, and when I was pretty much at a complete stop on my bike, I was hit by another bike. Thankfully, not a car. And let's just say my hands look like this, so my head can look like this. Um,
Dude.
yeah. Oh, and then also got little thing here. But yeah, no, someone just kind of had their headphones on and ran into me. The worst part is because of the adrenaline response. I instantly got up and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, no, I'm good, man, I'm good." Even though I was literally hit by like
Yeah. Yeah.
an e-bike. And then I apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry for being in your way. I'm on a sidewalk where pedestrians are not moving.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had been not moving for like 7 seconds. I'm not in the middle of a bike lane. And then I'm the one saying, I'm so sorry for being in your way. Like, how the worst part was when I fell, as I started falling, I have a distinct memory of being like, "Oh, how embarrassing!" I literally said that out loud. Yeah, he's like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Oh, how embarrassing!" Like, damn. No, it's good though. Then I went and had a dinner, and luckily, my friend who I was or I had a lunch. My friend who I was meeting for lunch was able to stop off at a CVS and got me gauze. So I was 10 minutes late to my lunch reservation, but they were really understanding, which is not surprising, but I was grateful about that. And then I rewarded myself with a Diet Coke that I mixed in some grenadine, that like cherry syrup in to make
Mm,
like that nice little
mm.
balanced, yeah, that nice little drink.
Nice. Nice.
Anyways, yeah, how are you?
How am I doing? I'm doing well. I played we'll do some pickleball updates this episode. It's been a while. Played a intense pickleball yesterday. Played for an hour and a half and the field was so crazy strong at the Y. Like I don't know what's going on, but it is the most competitive I've ever seen it. I was like there were like 25 people there. I was definitely the worst person there, and I'm not good at pickleball, but I'm not like a beginner at this point. I'm like a
Right.
intermediate beginner or something. But past the point of like I don't make that many unforced errors, or I make them in really
Mm-hmm.
tricky situations. But like for all the like my serves are like very consistent, normal hits are very consistent, like my ground strokes good and everything. But like oh man, the pace was crazy. I also finished writing up a Patreon post that I was working on for the last 2 weeks. about Jasmine Paolini, my favorite tennis player. The Patreon is free,
Mm.
by the way, just so people know. I made it everything free. You can give me money if you want, but it's all free. Um, so people can check that out. I think there's another thing we can talk about, but I think I might turn that into a video. I'm thinking about it. Um,
Mm.
so we'll see. And work has been good too. Work has been good. So things are going pretty well right now. I'm pretty happy with how things are. Looks like you had something to say, yeah.
Did we? Oh yeah, I was just saying. Did we talk about how the world is just like a more fun place when the Olympics are ongoing? I don't remember if we talked about this in the last
Yeah,
podcast or
we
not, but
when we
like
did the live episode, we talked a little bit about the Olympics. Maybe we
a
brought
little
it
bit
up
about
last
it.
time too,
Yeah.
but you're right. Yeah, Olympics just vibing.
I'm so sad they're gone. I
I
want them back.
know.
I know that like they're special because they only happen every couple of years, but like
Yeah, dude.
I'm excited for
LA.
them to be in LA.
Yes, LA is
Yeah.
gonna be sick. First of all, I need to make serious considerations if I want to go, because
Yeah.
I might go, but obviously like tons of people in America are gonna want to go. Um,
Right.
but in the very least, like the qualifications and stuff will definitely be held in Oregon and won't be packed if you want to see like track and
Mm.
field. They like always. I don't know if people know this, but Eugene, Oregon, that's where Nike was founded, by the way, is like the track capital of the world. Um,
It's actually the trap capital
the
too.
trap capital.
I think Future came out of Eugene, Oregon.
But yeah, track capital of
No,
the
that's
world.
Atlanta.
Yeah, they host tons of big bullet track events, and it's cool because that area is so acclimated to track that the people who show up and watch like understand track. So people will start cheering
Mm,
not for the final leg because it's close, but they'll be like, "Yo, this guy's on pace for like a really good time." Like way before the
yeah.
average lay audience would be privy to it. And I like Eugene, Oregon quite a bit too. University of Oregon has a pretty Pacific Northwest campus.
I take a lot of pride in like maybe too much pride, but like with like football or baseball, there's something where like when you see a pitch that's just like hanging over the plate, you get to like cheering like that like second before everyone
Dude, yeah.
else or before a lot of people. It like gives you like it's like things that give you a sense of like superiority. That's one of them. Or when I see a quarterback make like a beautiful throw and I see like a defender's been beat, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a touchdown." And like
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
if I get it wrong, I look foolish, but like getting it right, just like
Dude,
oh,
spec
it's like I'm the sports teacher's pet.
yeah, yeah. Spectating is weirdly a skill. When you're watching, like, I think the best
Yeah.
way to be able to understand competitive games, competitive sports, is to play them and to get good at them. Because that, like watching Melee, I just understand that I'm seeing a different thing on the screen than most of the people who are
Yeah.
watching. Because the average person watching Melee tournament does not play Melee, or they play a little bit of Melee. And so it's really and when I'm watching a character I'm familiar with, like Marth or Donkey Kong is very hot right now, by the way, Richard. For those of you who don't know, you
Oh.
might see YouTube recommendations if you're in the right sphere, but Donkey Kong had the best tournament performance ever in the 20 plus year history of Super Smash Bros. Melee this weekend at Supernova, which is a major tournament. Junebug,
Wait,
he got
that's
third
by me.
place.
That's in North
You
Virginia.
could have
That's in
gone,
North
Richard. Yeah,
Virginia.
it was super close to you.
I saw ads for that. I saw
Yeah,
ads for
yeah,
that. I was actually debating. Like I
dude.
gave it like 0.25 seconds and then it left my mind. But
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a 0.25 seconds, I was like, oh my gosh, that's in
yeah.
Nova.
Ev and I were like, "Yo, we could have stuck around for a little bit longer and gone to Super."
Yeah.
Dude, the
But
crowd looked crazy packed in the stream.
yeah.
And now that I've like been to a major, I have an idea of what it looks like behind the scenes. Like, yeah, the venue can get super crazy crowded because at that during the like finals, grand finals, nobody's doing anything but watching. Like all the
Mm,
setups are empty, nobody's doing any side activities. The entire venue is just all crowded at the front to watch the stage. And Donkey
yeah.
Kong in winner's side, winner's finals, guaranteed third place is crazy. Um,
Yeah, that's huge. Oh, I'm so happy, especially because you've been the past year of your life was like devoted. Not year? I don't know. You were
It's
in on DK
yeah,
for
it's
a
been
while.
yeah, yeah, I cool cuz my buddy was Tunes. They made the Donkey Kong Renaissance documentary, which still has legs because the story is still unfolding, but they kind of blew the story out of the water. Um, yeah, West Tunes is working on that. And I was like, chatting with them about Donkey Kong and stuff, and I was like, you know what? I want to play Donkey Kong just for the meme. And I tried Donkey Kong, and I was like, I kind of fuck with Donkey Kong. But yeah, it was hard. People say Donkey Kong is an easy character, but the paradigm of how you play Donkey Kong is very different from the average melee character. You have to be facing your opponent backwards all the time, for example, which is just odd. It changes how you have to move around the screen.
Mm,
He's
yeah.
very funky. Um, but yeah, yeah. So when I'm watching Donkey Kong, I know what the combo routes look like. I know like, oh, in this position, this is what's going to happen because I'm a labber, so I like to explore the combo tree, and it's just super
Right.
cool to like be able to, like you're saying, oh, this position, it could be the kill. Like this is the position, or people get hyped and it's like, no, guys, like that can't. Because people talk, oh, Donkey Kong can zero to death. Donkey Kong can like kill off one touch. It's only true in certain conditions. But people
Yeah.
don't know how to discriminate between when. Um, but yeah, watching is a skill. Uh,
Oh my gosh, another
yeah,
huge example of that, chess. When you have a
yeah,
GM commentator and they're
yes,
like, "Oh, he's got him," and the board looks like it's in a neutral state, and you're like, "What the?"
dude.
And they're like, and then like they recount before it even happens. They play like they like drag it on, like he's gonna go here, he's gonna go here, and then it's like
Yeah,
eight
yeah,
moves out, and then they're like, "Oh, he's fucking checkmated."
dude. The levels of chess are so insane because I am by all means a competent chess player. We've talked about it before. I would say like
Yeah,
as a competitive player, I'm average. Um, which is lot like which requires you to have played like hundreds of games of chess. I can't follow grandmaster play in the slightest.
yeah,
I can get hints like the aroma of different ideas, right? Like okay, this piece is threatening this way. Like okay, there's tension on the board here. I can get an idea, but I am constantly baffled by the decisions that are made because they are just operating on such a higher abstract level than what the average chess player is used to, that like you need a grandmaster or like an internet, you need a top level player to interpret what's going
yeah,
on for you, even if you're like a competent person. And that's actually true for everything, right? It's just that some stuff is more tactile, where like in baseball you can understand when like you can understand very quickly the different types of like stages of like the pitch and the hit, right? Like, oh, three
yep,
two count, that's like something, right? Oh,
yeah,
like
yeah,
nobody's hit any of these pitches. The pitcher is doing well. Like you can infer that, but then the inner game is like there's so much crazy nuance to it. Like how is the pitcher masking his pitches? What pitches is he
yeah.
deciding to do? Where is the batter aiming
How
for? Yeah, yeah,
his pitching movement, like
yeah,
is the ball moving the way he wants it to? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
dude.
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
sick.
when you're able to take a sport from vibes to like being able to dissect what makes up like the vibes,
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing.
yeah,
You see that in a lot. I guess that's just kind of learning, is like you kind of
yeah,
you kind of feel like the shape of it, but then you're like then you start to really understand it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yeah, another one more sport is basketball. When I started watching basketball a few years ago, I
Mm,
really tried to I would like sit down and try and watch back film and just like watch something and then rewind it and watch it back and be like trying to identify what's going on. I still feel like I can barely tell what's like I understand like the defensive formations and stuff a little bit. Like, okay, this one's like
sure.
man on man. All right, there's a zone going on here. But basketball is like I don't feel like people talk about this, but tactically it is so complex what's going on. It's just five people who have extremely high degrees of agency in how the game plays out is really hard to follow. And then you imagine being on the court and like a player like Jokic who can just without even seeing can like mentally interpolate what's happening on the court. It's like insane. Dude, Jokic is a fucking basketball genius, dude. Like he sees things that from a bird's eye view commentators don't see, and he's on the
Yeah.
court. You know, like he catches people off guard with a pass. Like, whoa, I didn't realize that there was an opening there. No one saw that there was an
Yeah.
opening there but him. And it's like, what? How are you doing that?
And he's exerting himself at like as like a high heart rate, you know? So it's like
Yes, yes.
imagine trying to think straight while doing that. I have so much respect for like chess boxers for that
Dude,
reason too.
chess
Like
boxing is fucked up. It is messed up.
having to use your chess side of your brain in addition, like while you're coming down from your fighting side of your
Yeah.
like that's going from like adrenaline to needing to get in the zone
Yeah,
and
yeah. Dude, you
crazy.
could definitely do an analysis of the games that chess boxers play, or like the moves that chess boxers make over the course of a chess boxing match compared to their like base
Yeah.
elo. The elo rating
Yeah.
probably drops like 30-40%. Like
No,
maybe
correlate it to their
more.
heart rate,
Yeah,
correlate it
yeah.
to the round of fighting they're in. Like you could, yeah, that would be so
That'd be
interesting. Oh
crazy
my
interesting.
gosh.
I mean, that's very doable. You can definitely, I mean, it's not perfect, but you can totally approximate ELO ratings based on
Well,
decisions. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean you also what is it? Chess.com. It has like a move. It's very broad, but it's like, oh, this was like a genius move. This was a like this was a
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
it
yeah,
called? A
yeah.
catastrophe. There's a word for it. Like where you
A
like you make an
blunder?
objectively wrong
Blunder? Yeah,
blunder.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So you have certain basic qualifying stuff for like spikes and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, totally.
So
Yes.
can I ask about a couple of the topics?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, just given my shirt, I see you wrote down a weeb arc.
Yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah,
I
yeah.
inquire about that?
Yeah. So I am watching the most anime I've ever watched in my life, which is only
Wow.
two shows that I watch like two or like maybe two or three episodes a day of. Um,
You do Delicious in Dungeon is one of them,
yeah,
right?
yeah, which I'm now learning if you want to be cool is Dungeon Meshi, which is like the original
Oh,
title, Dungeon Meshi. Delicious in Dungeon.
my bad.
I mean I haven't looked into it, but from what I've seen online, everyone calls it Dungeon Meshi. So that's I think I might
Dungeon
be
Meshi.
saying that
Okay.
something Meshi, something like that. Um,
Okay.
and then I'm watching Evangelion. Um,
Yo!
did you
I
watch
did not
Eva?
know that. Oh, yeah.
Dude,
I've seen all the movies too.
that
I'm
shit
like
is
bad.
so sick. Holy fuck.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe, dude, cuz yeah, let me give some
Oh.
picture for my anime history. So,
Oh.
when I was like really young, I watched some anime and I read manga, but not like super hardcore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like I like to have it sprinkled into the media I consumed because I thought it was cool. So I watched a little bit of Naruto, a little bit of I don't know, just Yu-Gi-Oh, but
Well,
that's like
yeah. You watched and you probably watched the WB Kid stuff like
yeah, the Four
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Kids I watched
Pokemon,
all of that. But
or
that
Four Kids. That's what it
yeah,
was.
that was
Yeah,
like super westernized flavors of anime, right? Did you know
yeah,
Four Kids like literally like modified original like because they were in charge of the localization, so they like would
yeah.
change the stories and stuff.
Dude, in the Shadow Realm, you fucking die.
Yeah, yeah, like Shadow Realm is just a euphemism for death that they
You
just
die.
replaced,
Yeah.
or injury, or injury. But yeah, basically, but yeah. So I watched some anime when I was a kid. I liked anime. I definitely would say that I was like into it, but and I tried like drawing anime style too, but I just wasn't like super hardcore about it. And then I kind of stopped. In college, I had a roommate who was really into anime, and they had really not non like kind of cult classic style recommendations of anime, which I ended up liking a lot. So I watched like a couple seasons of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Um,
Mm.
it was popular, but not as popular as it is now. Then, not trying to be like hipster about it or anything, but like at the time, I was like, oh, I've never seen an anime like this. This is very new to me. I
Yeah.
watched Utena, um, which is like by the creator of Sailor Moon.
Oh, nice.
Very gay, like super gay.
Oh
But
yeah.
never explicitly gay, but very gay. Um, I only watched like a handful of it. I watched all of Ping Pong, the animation, which is the cliche in the melee community is that everyone has seen Ping Pong. Have you seen Ping Pong, Richard? It's
Nope.
really short. It's like 6 to 10 episodes in that range. It's just a one off.
Oh,
You can watch
nice.
in a day in a couple
Yeah.
hours. It's super crazy good.
You did Haikyuu?
Yeah,
Haikyuu?
I watched 1.5 seasons of Haikyuu a few years ago.
And you did Death Note. I know
Oh
that.
yeah, I watched Death Note in high school.
And
That's the only anime I watched in
and
high school. Yeah.
you've done a couple Ghibli movies.
Oh yeah, yeah. Plenty of Ghibli movies, and I know I'm just
Yeah.
recounting like every anime I've watched at this point. Oh, and then two more I can think of, or three more I can think of. I watched all of Tatami Galaxy, which I liked a lot. Another like one shot, like 12 episode run thing. I watched Fooly Cooly, which is also short. I like these one shot animes a lot, where it's just like you get it over with because I just get bored.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and I watched
What's the one with the drilling people?
yeah, I watched Gurren Lagann.
Oh, that's what
But
it
I
is.
only
Yep.
watched like half of it. I should finish it because I was liking that a lot too.
Hmm.
Um, but anyways, this
What are
is
your
like
thoughts on Evangelion? Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
on.
it's sprinkled over the course of a lot of time, and so anime for me is like I'm not against it, but I don't actively watch it. It's just like sometimes
Yeah.
it comes on my radar, and if I'm liking it a lot, I'll finish it. And if it's like well, if I just can't get into it, I don't. But yeah, what was your question, Rich?
Oh, well, so two things. One, I'm on a Crunchyroll family plan, so if you want in, it's like $2 a
I
month.
could be down, yeah.
It's really nice. The offline downloading of stuff for like airplanes, primo.
Yeah, yeah.
But two, how deep into Evangelion are you?
Yeah,
It's one of like the 6 animes I've seen, and I really liked it.
yeah. So I think I'm on the seventh episode. I've watched the first 6 episodes, so taking it a little
Mm,
bit slow, just a few episodes each day. But oh
yeah,
my God, the world building and the character development is just on another level. Um,
yeah.
it make I like I know I watched the first episode with you a few years ago, but I never watched anything past it. And I didn't
Mm.
remember it that well because we were like watched it at like 3 a.m. or something, and then we were like passing out
Yeah.
as we were watching it, right? Like it wasn't
I
like
honestly forgot we did it.
yeah,
So
it was not a
yeah,
notable thing. It was we were just like what can we put on the TV, and then you were like oh we can watch
yeah.
Eva, and then we were like we're
Hell yeah.
but
That was right. That must have been right around the time I finished it because I was so hyped on Eva.
yeah,
I think I
I
watched
bet.
it like either right before COVID or right during COVID, and I was so into it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
It
Sorry, I need to stop saying
no, no,
this.
you're good. Please share as much as you want. But dude, the first episode is like I guess I don't want to spoil anything, but the like visceral nature of just everything, the mechanics that they set up in the world building, the way it's executed and depicted, it is so well done. It makes you wonder, and I don't want to be one of these people, but it really makes you wonder like why we don't see media like this anymore. Like I know this is cream of the crop stuff. You're not going to get it all the time. But the last time I saw something that was kind of this elegant in execution was a long time ago. The meta nowadays seems to be money dumping, which gets you some really, really cool shows, but it kind of
Mhm.
loses the simple craft of it all. Like Eva is not doing anything crazy when it comes to how it's executed. I mean the storytelling is top notch. The visuals are top notch, but like it's not it's not it's stuff that should be in reach. It's stuff that should be doable now and it should be fundable now. um But I don't know. I guess we don't see it. But yeah, it's so good. I can't believe how good it is. Um,
Even the theme song, it's just like a
yeah,
slideshow.
I can't, dude. And the intro is so well crafted because they show you
It
like
is.
200 visuals and you can't process it in real time. But as the show goes on, I mean, again, I'm only like the first quarter of the show. You understand more and more of what you're seeing in the intro. It's
Yeah.
super cool. And here's another thing. Oh, yeah,
Evangelion
go
is.
on. Yeah,
Oh,
sure, sure.
gone. Yeah. No, you first.
All
You
right.
first.
I have
I insist.
seen Evangelion references and media all over the place for like my entire life, and even still, basically no aspect of the show has been spoiled for me. Because like I've seen the guy like this. I'm assuming I haven't seen
Yeah.
that shot, but the character looks like him, so I'm assuming this guy is the Evangelion
Correct.
guy.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I've seen what the ending looks like, the screenshot of the ending with like the horizon or whatever. I don't know how it's gonna turn out
Wait,
yet.
wait.
I'm not there yet.
Omedeto. Omedeto. They're all saying congratulations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I've just seen so much. I've seen the nerve stuff everywhere, but all these bits and pieces, they don't like you don't understand it until the show delivers it to you and it comes together. Oh man, dude, when they reveal the city, I was like, this is so fucking
Yeah.
cool. Like, how come I've never seen this before? How is this an original idea? I mean, maybe I mean, sure,
Yeah.
other people have done it, but yeah, go on, go on.
So there's a couple of things. My understanding is this is like the show that like kind of saved anime or whatever. Like the
Hmm.
genre had kind of been stalling for a while and like was kind of on life support. And
Yeah.
when Evangelion came out, it really revitalized a lot of interest in intrigue in it. Um and yeah, I liked Evangelion for a lot of the same reasons you did. I think a couple of things I really liked about it were one, I felt like you could keep digging deeper and deeper. It's heavily symbolic,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they don't necessarily spell every little thing out for you. So you have all these
Yes.
little interactions that like they actually build off of and capitalize on that like as a kid you can watch and be like, "Oh, robots," but as an adult you can be like, "Oh, this is really interesting from like a armchair therapist kind of
Yeah.
perspective."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um let's see. I think compared to the other animes I watched, it's definitely the one that has captured my interest the most. Yet, despite the art style being super minimalist, I mean, I know for the time I'm sure it was a lot, but like compared to animes today,
Oh
it's
yeah. It's
super minimal. It's
yeah.
very basic. Like
Yeah,
the
and
the
Gainax I
scenes are
know
all
is like a
really.
great studio, but yeah,
Mm,
they rely significantly more on composition than complicated
yes.
technique. Yeah.
The music is really good. Like the episode, the Hedgehog's Dilemma, where like it's about it's like I think it's like the second or third one, but
Yeah,
it's like how a hedgehog just wants to be friends, but it has a spiky
yeah.
outside, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like shit. Like, the episode titles all have a lot of meaning, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
lastly, it's laced with biblical symbolism.
Oh yeah.
Some of it obvious, some of it a lot less obvious, but it gives me like a Binding of Isaac vibe, and I really like that.
Yeah, yeah. I am a big fan of biblical symbolism, just like from an aesthetic point of view. Something about it is
Yeah.
just like
It-
it's like, hey, there is a Western mythology. I mean, I guess Greek mythology is also, but there's like a more, not that Christianity is strictly American, but it is more associated with like America and stuff than other types of
yeah.
mythology. And it's like, hey guys, there is stuff there. And for some reason, biblical themes are not used in American media almost ever, or if they are, they're explicitly biblical and not aesthetically
Yeah.
biblical. Yeah. Um,
I'm picturing like a dude wearing like an all black fit, and you're just like, oh yeah, whatever. But then he puts on like a big upside down cross silver necklace, and then you're like, oh, that's
dude,
some
yeah, you're
fucking
like, oh
streetwear like
shit,
there.
yeah. That's funny.
uh, no, that's great. Oh, congrats on the Weeb arc. I think I've seen like 6 or 7 animes, but I own like 5 pieces of anime clothing. I have loved Okay, that's not true. As a kid, I saw like the WB Kids anime, but I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it was anime at the time. I just
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
it was made in America. I was just like, oh, this is just Western media because I mean, with the 4 kids dubbing, it pretty much is.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Seto.
then as
Mocha
yeah.
ball.
And I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! I was so into Yu-Gi-Oh! I would go and watch you episodes in Japanese as a kid because
Mm.
I just was on YouTube because I just wanted to know about the Egyptian god cards and the Secret
Yeah,
Creedus
yeah, yeah.
quest and everything. And yeah, as an adult getting into anime, I was like it just the possibilities are just so special of
Yeah.
all the little things they can do. They can wrap up a story whenever they want. They don't have to like they can be so much more creative with it and it just opens up all these new worlds. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big I think a lot of people would know me as an anime fan, but my fandom is very disproportional to the actual amount of content I have watched.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I feel because I have like a lot of anime shirts. I'm sure I've worn a couple on the pod, but like, oh man, one time I was wearing an anime shirt and someone came up to me and started they wanted to talk about anime and I was like, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about. Like I just don't watch that much anime. Like I like it, but I'm not hating or anything. I'm not trying to distance myself, but I'm just not in the I'm not in the know. Um but
Right,
yeah, I think
right.
anime is sick. I think anime is sick. I think what I'm missing, I think what makes someone a weeb is there something about the escapism, the flavor of escapism that anime can offer. I think in particular for like shonen style anime, the like hero protagonist style stuff, it's like it's not the
Mhm.
it's far from the only type of anime out there, but I feel like that's kind of like the most popular genre. That's my uninformed opinion or uninformed
Mhm.
impression. Um, that shonen kind of like pie in the sky dream escapist fantasy, it doesn't hit me in my core. I like seeing it, and if it's executed well, it's really fun to watch. But
Yeah.
I don't get lost in the sauce, and I'm not trying to put I'm not trying to moralize that or put judgment on people who do, but I feel like that's the thing that weebs resonate with that gets them to like really stick
Yeah.
with the
Oh, that's
genre.
a good point.
For me, I get my fill and I don't really want more. Um,
We're narrative guys. Of course we don't watch shonen.
yeah, yeah. That's the other thing. Unending arcs and stuff. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I just get bored to be honest. It's too much because it's just I need my stories to end. I just need my stories to end.
Yeah. I'm gonna get you to watch Hunter x Hunter one day. It's
Oh,
like a
I got
hundred
it.
something episodes, and it ends.
I
It's good.
I have seen the first couple episodes of Hunter x Hunter actually, but yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I
nice.
gotta check it out. Richard, you need to watch Ping Pong. It's short.
I know.
It's
I
really
will.
fucking good. Um, and you should watch Tatami Galaxy. I think you would like Tatami Galaxy a lot. The premise
Okay.
is
Ping
this.
pong and tatami.
Yeah, it's also short. This kid he goes to college. He gets and it's like the he's freshman in college, and there's all these clubs he can join, and so he picks one,
Mm-hmm.
and he joins that club, and then we see how it like plays out in his college experience, and then in the next episode, time rewinds, and he makes a different decision, and you basically just
Interesting.
see and the way the story plays out is that like you get more and more different angles at who he is as a person and who the people around him are as we see it through like different experiences. There's more to it that I
Kind of
don't
got
want to
like
spoil.
a Groundhog Day
Yeah,
effect going
it
on.
is a total Groundhog Day
I
style
like
thing. Yeah,
that.
it's college
I
Groundhog
mean,
Day.
right. I mean, that movie as a kid it lives in my brain. Unfortunately, the Click with Adam Sandler.
Dude, that is also a
Like, there's
Groundhog Day movie. It's a weird Groundhog Day movie. Yeah.
it's a weird Groundhog Day movie, but it lives in my head because as a kid, I was like, there's so many times where I was like, what if I just did
Dude,
this
I know.
situation just this way? It scratches this deep
Dude,
human universal longing or
Dude, yeah,
itch.
yeah. Click is so weird because it is like such a memorable movie that is so shit. Like just
It's so
so
mid.
bad.
It's so bad.
But
Yeah.
so memorable and
And Adam
iconic.
Sandler actually has some good movies. That's just not one of them,
Yeah, oh
I
yeah,
don't
definitely. I mean,
think.
yeah, I don't know the last time you saw Click. It fucking sucks, dude. It is so bad. Um, but in an iconic, memorable way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't realize you were on your Weebark, but
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
I'm happy for
Well, yeah,
you.
well, because the
You'll have to
second I
let
was
me
like,
know.
yeah, the second I was like, oh, I'm watching two animes at once. I've never watched two animes at once before. Oh, and Dungeon Meshi Rich, you should check out too. It's one of those I'm sure there's a name for it in the fandom, but it's one of those like wholesome, nothing ever goes wrong anime, which is
Mm.
just like you're locked in for a
Oh,
good time every time.
we both had that with Spy Family. You turned me
Yeah.
on to it.
Oh, that's right. I also watched Spy
Yeah.
Family, which I really liked a lot too. I haven't watched in a while, but
Yeah.
Spy Family was super fun.
You gotta love. It's like the movie. Did you ever watch the Jean Favreau movie Chef, where like if
I
something
haven't
goes
watched it.
wrong,
Yeah.
it's resolved. Okay, well, it's not too bad
Is that
because
how
it's like,
Chef is? Interesting.
yeah, it's like there's conflict. It's an interesting movie, but the conflict has it resolves pretty quickly, and like you're never like too like bummed. Like it's a movie you can watch if you're in a bad place, and you're like, oh, this is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Like it's like sitcom level of like character faces a challenge but is okay at
Yeah,
the end
yeah.
type deal.
I
But
I
it's throughout the
like
movie.
yeah, I like movies that have tight resolutions. I don't want it to be
Yeah,
the only way that movies are. It's just that the
yeah,
more standard way of screenwriting kind of really encourages you to create frustrating tension because that
yeah,
anticipation, that tension is very stimulating for the viewer. It really hooks them in and engages
yeah.
them. But you do get frustrated as the viewer sometimes. And so movies that find a way to elegantly resolve tension but stay interesting, I think are in a weird way subversive. Even though you could
Yeah.
just say, "Oh, it's just wholesome," but it's hard to make something that lacks significant tension and is still interesting.
I agree. No, that's why I
Yeah,
love Totoro because all the tension is
yeah,
very subtle too. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's not in your face. It's very like behind the scenes. Especially if you think of the historical context of it being in Japan post World War II. Like
mm-hmm.
they're just building everything back up. It's just like,
Yeah,
whoa, like this has like it has like a dark cloud that kind of hangs over the movie that like when you learn about how it is, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
I watched we went to the theater last weekend and we saw Dee Dee. Are you familiar with it?
like Designated Driver.
No, 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 no. It's a movie by Sean Wong, who's kind of
No,
this
I'm
like
not familiar
young
with it.
filmmaker. This is his first feature film. I was vaguely familiar with him before because
Mhm.
he did a what do they call it? Like a visual op-ed. New York Times had a stupid name for it, but he basically made a short documentary that got published through New York Times. Um,
Yeah.
and because Dee Dee is it's like the term of endearment for like a young boy. Is it boy specific? I think it's boy
Oh,
specifically in Chinese, in Mandarin.
in Chinese. Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
and so it's like what, and so it's not autobiographical, but it's like auto adjacent in that the
Mhm.
story is very transparently, and
Yeah.
there's not a secret or anything. He says it himself. But it's very transparently based on his own personal experiences, but it's just kind of this coming of age story featuring like an Asian American, which is cool. um, Asian American representation in media has been really good. There's almost, I shouldn't say there's too much, but there's a lot. But I think it's a valid correction, because the movie takes place in 2008, and one thing my girlfriend and I were commenting on was like, wow, the anti-Asian racism in this movie is on point in terms of its like subtlety yet overtness.
Mm.
It matches exactly my experience growing up around
Is
anti-Asian
this the
racism.
like where are you from? Where are your parents from type
That,
stuff?
not
Or
no,
like
that stuff is like pretty on the nose. More, it's subtle, but just like character, like feeling shame around Asian culture stuff.
oh, I see.
Um,
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
also like there's one scene where like a white kid does the slant eyes. I definitely saw that when I was in middle school. It's crazy
Mm.
how long that shit took to disappear. Um, big experience in my life. I was on a field trip, and my friend's dad, who's Chinese, was chaperoning. Some white kid did the slant eyes, and he got the talking to, in a very stern and respectful but disappointed way. Whereas like, hey, you can never do this ever again because it is whack, and I
Yeah.
understand that you don't understand that yet, but you can't ever do this again.
Surprisingly empathetic for a random parent chaperone.
Yeah. Oh, he was super measured, but like the message
Yeah.
was very clear. And I'm glad that that happened. But yeah, the movie was
Yeah.
excellent.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy when you go back and I will watch it
Yeah, yeah,
probably when it comes out on streaming though.
yeah, yeah. All good.
No disrespect to the big screen. I my last big movie I saw was Inside Out 2, which slapped. If you are into like
Mm.
metacognition and stuff, Inside Out and Inside Out 2, oh my
Oh, I
god, it's
bet. Yeah. I haven't
incredible.
seen either, but I
Have you
should. I know. I've been told I
Oh,
should. Yeah,
you fool. You should
yeah.
watch it. Sorry, you're not
No, no,
foolish.
no. It's
You're
okay.
foolish for not having seen at least the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
They're so good because you, as a kid, like you don't need to see it on the big screen. Like you could watch it from your phone and you'd get 99% of it. Because as a kid, you get drawn in because it's like cool and visually appealing. But as an adult, like you're watching how emotions play and interact. Like that movie is probably like a cognitive behavioral therapist, like absolute dream or
Dude,
whatever. Like it
watching
is,
that movie, because I've heard, so I haven't seen it, but I've heard it. It's like a really healthy depiction of emotions for children. Dude,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
only one instance, but it's one and then a second uh powerful deep rep in like emotional regulation for children who usually get zero reps.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally. You could tell the people that wrote that too. They did that thing where like all the good cartoon movies that like have cultural staying power do, where there's all these deeper references that like the parents watching the movie will still get something out of it while still
yeah.
having a base message for the kids. Being able to walk that line is just so incredible. Like Avatar The Last Airbender does that
Oh
really well
yeah,
too. You could
Avatar
watch
is
that as an
crazy.
adult. You could watch that as a kid. Like, so
Yeah. Yeah,
good.
writing those kinds of stories too is so hard. Like speaking
Yeah.
from my experience as someone who's way more amateur than any professional screenwriter, like it sounds cheesy to say, but you really do have to dig into your soul because it's like this is not gonna come out in a way that feels like authentic and like impactful unless you're really trying to tap into stuff that like makes you feel. You
Mm,
have to. There's no other way. You can't fake like that kind of thing. Um, yeah, DD is the same way. Like it's like clear, like it's
TD.
drawn from
Okay.
personal experience, so of course it's gonna be latent with like real life emotions that undercut the movie.
DD Kong.
DD Kong, Diddy Kong, DD Kong. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely add it to the list.
Yeah. Did you ever see Eighth Grade by Bo Burnham?
No, I hear that one is pretty good though,
Eighth
isn't
Grade
it?
is quite good. I liked it a lot. It's probably like a 7.5, maybe an 8. I liked Dee Dee better than Eighth Grade. Um, yeah. I thought it was very, very good.
What's that cartoon we liked about like kids going through like puberty? The hormone monster.
Oh,
It
Big
has
Mouth.
Big
Dude,
Mouth.
big
Yeah.
we got to be careful
It,
here, Rich, cuz the internet hates Big Mouth. I
Oh,
don't know what's gonna
I
drag us
didn't
for.
I didn't really like the later seasons, but I
Yeah,
thought season
I thought
one
the
and season
first
two
like
were
two
really
seasons were
solid.
good, and it falls off pretty
Yeah.
hard after. Yeah.
Oh no. Do you think they hate Big Mouth initially, or was it a sense of
It
betrayal at
was
how it
no, no,
turned to
no.
shit?
People have hated Big Mouth from the beginning. The reason that I've seen is
What?
people hate the art style. They don't like the writing because which I don't know. I like what's his name? Uh the lead.
John Mulaney?
No, 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 not John Mulaney. The
Fred
guy.
Armisen? Oh, Nick something.
Dude,
Nick.
I'm blanking. So I watched like his entire sketch comedy show, which is like named after him. Uh
It's Nick something, is it not?
yeah.
I'm gonna have
Let's
a pull this up, Jamie
yeah.
moment.
But I like him a lot as a comedian, but people just did not resonate with his writing. And I saw a lot of people who said the show is gross, which I think is of the criticisms one of the I think it's one of the least valid, to be honest. Because if you were a teenager and you
Okay.
watched Big Mouth, I feel like it would have given you a really reasonable and
Yeah.
much less guarded view of like what puberty is like. When I was a
Mm-hmm.
teenager, I got this book from the library, um, from like some like giveaway thing. Not like, but basically they were giving away free books, and I got this book, and it was like an anthology of comic book artists who had written comics about being a teenager. And the comics were, I think if there's,
Hopefully it was just a full collection of zits. Did you ever see that one?
no, I did not. I don't,
Oh, you weren't a Sunday morning cartoon type guy?
yeah, no, this one was like, I don't think this book ever got popular, but the cartoonists
Oh,
who,
okay.
the comic book artists who contributed to it were like, not like they were like, I don't want to say real, but like they were like, it was very non-mainstream style comics and cartoons.
Mm,
Um, but the book, if this book had ever gone in the hands of like a conservative, they would have freaked out and burned it and book banned it because like it
yeah.
talks about like teenagers like doing drugs, like having sex and stuff like that, and in
Yeah.
limited degrees depicting it and stuff, not in a weird way, in like a raw way, and I
Yeah.
read that book as a teenager, and it gave me tons of little insights of like an adult reflecting on things that happen to you when you're a teenager. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like really glad that I got that book. It was like super captivating and interesting to me. And Big Mouth is not as artful, but it does hit on a lot of similar beats as that book. And so when I saw Big Mouth come out, I was like, awesome! Like now teenagers have another thing that kind of addresses this very confusing
Yeah.
experience for them. But then everyone hated it, and I was like, all right, well, whatever.
I mean, to be fair, I think our friend group, like you and I and some of our adjacent friends, we have a lot of really like fun memories from being like silly young teenagers. So that show is like a little bit nostalgic for me. If you
Hmm.
did not enjoy your teen, to be fair, I didn't
I
enjoy a
didn't
lot of my
enjoy it. Yeah,
teenagerhood.
I don't know. I think I enjoyed a lot of aspects of my teen years. I think I really struggled with a lot of aspects of my teen years too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean that's part. It's part of
yeah,
it.
I
But
think it's
like
normal.
to me, the show kind of it normalized my experiences, and it also like made me like a little bit nostalgic for some of the stuff that we got
Yeah,
into as teenagers.
yeah.
Um, but I guess I can understand why people don't like it. But I didn't realize I was stepping on such a minefield.
Dude, it is
The
like the
actor's
hate
name
train
was
is massive.
I didn't realize it says there's 7 seasons. Nick Kroll is
Oh,
the
Nick
actor you're
Kroll.
thinking
Yeah,
of. Yeah,
I
I knew
like
it
Nick
was Nick.
Kroll. I like Nick Kroll.
Yeah, I do too.
He's
Um,
he's a jester style comedian, and I like those types of
yeah.
guys. Same like Eric Andre.
S- s-
Yeah,
mm,
yeah.
Eric Andre is something. You were talking about like burned books or not ban excuse me, banned books,
Banning, burning,
but
yeah.
this got me thinking of I feel like Judy Blume periodically like makes the news because people try and ban her books every now and then
Really?
because her books just randomly have like teenagers doing teenager stuff, like thinking about
Oh,
sex, uh like uh like non-PG stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so, it's not the theme of the book. She just throws it in a very tasteful, very lived
yeah,
experience
yeah.
way. Um, I guess I guess from some element, thinking of like an adult writing about a teenager is
I
weird,
know it
but
is.
not really
I
because
yeah.
it's
I
I wouldn't I would feel a little uncomfortable, but she like those books helped introduce me to adult subjects and helped
yes,
me gain a more nuanced
yeah.
understanding. Like I'd rather know than not know.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
feel similarly. It is weird to think about adults writing teenagers doing teenager things. And I bet it's even uncomfortable for a lot of adults. At the same time, teenagers don't have the skills and execution to write about those types of
Exactly.
things with grace or like context and reflection. It reminds me of I've always been interested by this. You know John Green, the author, right? Brother of Hank Green.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he wrote Fault
The
in Our
Fault in Our
Stars.
Stars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so John Green was like one of my favorite authors when I was growing up. I read a lot of like young adult fiction. Um, and John Green is pretty candid in his depiction of teenagers doing teenager things, as so it were. And
Right.
I never had a problem with it, but I always thought it was interesting that he, for such a popular art author, he never really seemed to ever get flack for it. And then so when I see other authors get flack for it, I'm like, dude, like so many people do this. It's normal. And I think it's because of his audience.
Yeah.
His audience isn't the type of people who would care. Um like but yeah, like authors do that. Authors do that. There's some very graphic depictions of things in John Green books. Like I don't know, like Looking for Alaska was the one that I really liked for a long time. And then Paper Towns I
Mm.
liked a
Yeah.
lot, and then they turned it into a movie. Or they're going to? Maybe they already did. I don't know. I honestly have not watched the John Green movies. But I like the books
I
quite
haven't
a
seen
bit.
any of them.
Yeah.
I read The Fault in Our Stars and it was a sad book, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was good.
Yeah, people get on the case of his books being kind of like sappy, kind of like teen what's the word? Like it's like almost pandering kind of, you know.
Mm.
He really tugs on heartstrings and stuff in an overt way, but like he's just good at writing, dude. Like I don't know. And if you're a teenager,
Yeah.
that means a lot to you. The only young adult book I could never finish because it was too much for me was Perks of Being a Wallflower. Are you familiar with that? It became a movie
I
later.
know all the I know all the memes that came from it, but I never actually read the book.
Yeah, there's a movie. I read like the first like third of the book. Perks is an important book because when it came out, it was very groundbreaking in its candid depiction of teenagers doing teenager things. Um, but holy moly, it leans into just every little corner of things going wrong possible. The story is crafted in a
Mm.
way that just like every dramatic teen happening that can occur happens.
Happened.
And for me, I was
Yeah.
like, this is a little too on the nose, a little too much for me, but I appreciate and understand its cultural significance.
What's the term? Like there's it's like I don't know if
It's
I'm
like
not allowed to say the P
NCIS
word.
murder porn. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like tragedy porn or
Yeah,
disaster
it
porn or
is
whatever.
in that realm
Yeah.
of territory.
Yeah.
And I would say John Green's writing is multiple steps down from that, but he still puts in
That's
some
fair.
pretty big tragedy. Oh,
Yeah.
the criticism of John Green is always he writes manic pixie dream girls, which is true. There's no way around it. It's fucking true, but it is what it
He's
is.
probably inspired a generation of manic pixie dream girls, like
Well, yeah,
with his books and
his writing
movies.
is very popular, not just among men but women. So you can't say that doesn't resonate across genders.
Yeah, my mom was the one who told me to read *Fault in Our Stars*.
Really, that's so interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And people
yeah.
don't give
I feel
fiction enough
like he has a.
grace.
I feel like he has a very large female audience,
Yeah,
probably like
it
one of
might
the
be the
larger ones
majority
that like a
actually.
man has. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he's really good. Like the way he writes about
yeah.
he I don't know.
He's such a weird
Yeah,
person
we
too.
we we, li- we like the Greens.
Yeah, I like the Grease. Yeah, I think there are valid things to criticize them on, but not enough to say that they're not a net positive to society.
Yeah, no, they're not. I don't think they're discountable.
Yeah, yeah,
We stand the Greens.
yeah, yeah. Oh man, me always hedging, always anticipate because I've seen criticism, so I was like, I gotta acknowledge the criticism. I always feel disingenuous if I don't, but I don't need to bring it up every time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we got time for
Choose a
like one
side. Oh,
more topic before we close. It's been a very stream of conscious episode, but consciousness,
that's okay.
conscious,
Um,
consciousness.
can we let's just end with something simple. Did we talk about every single product that Samsung makes already?
Oh man, let's save that for later because I actually want to do prep for it. But
Oh,
Samsung
okay, fair,
makes
fair,
a
fair.
lot of things. Guaranteed more things than you think. I just think I think it'd be funny to enumerate everything they make. Here, let me close with a
Oh,
couple. Oh yeah, do you have something you want to say, Rich?
oh, I was just gonna talk about. I was gonna take it back to the start when I got hit by the bike.
Yeah,
I just wanted to bring up the resiliency and enforcing it with things.
yeah,
So after I got hit, I ended up biking my way down, and I went to and I did lunch with a friend, and when I was there, I got a Diet Coke and I got a little bit of grenadine, and I don't normally drink caffeine, and I don't normally put like sugar in my sodas,
hmm
but I wanted to just like I was like I've had a hard time, and I've been a brave boy, so I deserve a little
yeah,
treat. And I'm hoping that like it's nice that I was just in like when that bad thing happened to me, I didn't really wallow in it. I was just in like, all right, take care of business. And then I just like subconsciously knew I'm like, all right, I deserve a little reward for this.
yeah,
But yeah, anyways, you can close with your updates. I just wanted to make sure
yeah.
that I like that. I
No,
was
no,
proud
I
of
like
myself.
that. I like that. I guess I said I was going to talk about pickleball more, but what more is it? I'm really jiving with pickleball right now. I couldn't play for a month when I was out of town and then I got sick. Um, but yeah, it just feels good. I'm engaging with the strategy more in the game and
Mm.
I'm noticing so right now the strongest players at the Y, you could call them bangers. I mentioned bangers when I initially brought up pickleball, but they hit the ball hard. The pace
They
yesterday was
bang.
ridiculous. Yeah, they bang.
Right.
Um, just definitely some ex racket sports players, I guess current racket sports players, but people who played other racket sports were definitely there. Everyone hits with tons of spin. So the ball is flying all over the place and going at really high speeds. But I noticed if I was able to find ways to slow down the game and force the slow game, which is a cool because you can't get up to the net because of that 7 foot kitchen that keeps you away from the net. If you hit the ball light and just over the net, the only way to return it is with a soft hit. Because if you drive it, it's too
Mm.
low. You'll just hit the net. And I noticed that when I was able to find opportunities to get the slow game going, things suddenly felt a lot more even ground. And a lot of my reps
Mm.
when I've done drills are just practicing. It's called dinking, practicing soft hits. The dinking is why people criticize pickleball and why it doesn't look cool when you watch the professional play. Oh, it's lame, whatever, like old people thing. Dinking is not the default. To get to dinking, you have to be able to stop really fast play. And because the court's so small, you don't you got to react and stuff. Like you got to read your opponent too. I'm getting a lot better at reading. Every time I see an opponent, the ball's on their side, I'm like trying to watch like, okay, how are they going to hit the ball? Backhand, forehand. On serves, I'm watching where they're putting the spin and then adjusting like where I am accordingly. The reading is so important because you literally just don't have enough reaction
Mm.
time. You need the leeway of making a prediction. Um, and I'm also working a lot on being kind of like a wall at the net. I get up to the kitchen line. I get up as close as I can and as fast as I can, which is kind of the meta strategy. And I've been focusing a lot on just
Yep.
like read the hit, and if I can poach it or hit it out of the air, I'm just gonna stop the ball, and just try and kill the pace. And so strategically, I think if I can force the slow game and continue working on it, it can turn into my edge that starts letting me win against harder players and just not getting bullied at the net. Just being like, no, you can't hit hard at me. I will always respond, and I'll be able to slow down the ball too. Um, Pickleball
Great wall
rocks.
of respite.
You're gonna play pickleball soon, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. One week from now. Yeah. I'm very excited.
I'm really
With my
curious.
like tennis background.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what your experience is and stuff. I think you'll like it a lot. It's just so fun.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
It's
Yeah. I can't
it's
wait.
really fun. um, yeah. Are we at time? Is that everything? Sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Well, thank you for joining us, viewers, and as always, goodbye. No.
And I hope you all stay more collision free than myself.
Yeah, don't get hit by people. Bye. Bye.
Bye.